have some connection to the group of 4 strangers that are on this island. You've been brought before the court on the largest city of this island.
Did we ever
And at
figure
the
out what island we were on?
Cinnabon.
Okay.
actually you were told earlier. Well, I think Pedwin asked somebody earlier, but the island you're on is called Rudam.
That doesn't sound like Cinnabon.
Zanzibar.
Something like that. Anyway, as a result of the collective testimony and based off of the decision of 6 jury members that were selected from the towns that these events took place in, or should I say the settlements these events took place in, they decided that your group was to work for the court of Mason's Rest, the capital of this island. As a result, you've been charged with service to the court. You don't exactly know what that entails, but that was your sentence, seeing as you were found guilty of the charges that were laid against you.
Did Joe get the exact same punishment I did?
Yep.
What a shitty ass court system. I demand a refund.
Well, hey man, you did help to break into that house.
But I didn't light it on fire.
You can't claim innocence.
I also didn't light the trade post on fire either.
Yeah, that one was all Pedwin.
Pew pew.
Pew, pew, indeed. Alright, I just need to... Oh, fuck it, whatever, I'll do it later. Okay.
We'll do it live.
So we come back to the court. And the 4 of you are standing there on these small metallic daises on the floor. And the metallic inlays in the floor, the highly polished, the highly polished bronze curls that are set into the stone floor, and at the bottom of this small octagonal depression, and the room fills out around you, and this room is containing guards, it's containing the benches with the jury members, the semicircular raised desk that the orb holder, this definitely elderly dwarf, long white beard with these gold kind of, they're almost like small cylinders that the beard kind of flows into and then passes through this cylindrical piece, and then it billows out again, and then it does that once more, and then it ends in a small knot and tapered end. And sitting to that individual, who you come to know as Rom Cresthold, sitting to his left is an individual you're quite familiar with now, and that's Orbholder Ray, who has been conducting this trial, and it was his home you broke into when you were chasing Burnley. And sitting to Ray's left, who has been silent up until this point, just kind of arms crossed, looking a little impatient with this whole process, is the individual that was in the office that Ray and Burnley emerged from when you broke into his home. He doesn't seem to be quite as heavily armed as the last time that you saw him. He's in more of kind of ceremonial robes as opposed to the full armor with the loadout that you saw before. The townspeople are still lining the back walls and the side walls near the jury benches. And just outside the perimeter of guards that surround you is Orpolder McClay, who came in earlier to offer his testimony of his interactions with Burnley in Verdale. And some of Orpolder McClay's guards stand to the side of the courtroom where he emerged from earlier. So Ray, having heard the pronounced sentence that the accused were to be in service to the crown, or the court, sorry, did that again. He reaches up and pounds what was, until now, invisible, a staff that thunders against an unseen platform, and a boom echoes out, which kind of catches some of the crowd off guard. And there's a few quick gasps, and some individuals look around. Very well. You four, I will speak to you in private, and you will learn the details of what is to be your charge.
Goody.
It's at that point that some of the townspeople begin to filter out, and some of the jury members begin to descend from their benches, and just a general sense of a kind of ease of tension. The individuals that were at the top step down from behind the bench and begin to file off to the side. And what breaks the low hum of conversation is the scream of one person.
It's me! Oh!
Pedwin screams because as he turns to address Flint Baldirk, he looks at what is Flint Baldirk, but all the color has drained away from his form. It's gray and white and almost somewhat cloudy, as if he's cloaked in a fog that isn't there. And there's just a strange kind of image of him standing there vacantly staring back at you. And there's another exclamation off to the side of the room as the individual with that pronounced your sentence and declared you guilty has also succumbed to this state where he stands there, seemingly inert, unresponsive, all the color gone from his body. The cat that he walked in with is anxiously kind of sniffing around his form and trying to paw into a person that isn't there. The paw seems to just kind of pass right through part of the cloudy form that was that individual. It's stricken two other individuals in this room as well, one of them being this guard. Oh, did that ping? Did you guys see that?
Sorry, no.
How about there?
Yeah. That card.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So it afflicts that guard and one of these civilians near the bronze statue of the scales resting on a hammer. There is a small flurry of activity that accompanies this revelation of these individuals that just begin to freeze and fade and turn into this kind of cloudy and ethereal form. And as the three individuals that were sitting at the top of the desk emerge from behind that elevated platform, once again, Orpolder Ray thumps his staff against the ground, and a large boom goes out again. And in the forms of the individuals that are currently afflicted by this, they seem to shimmer and get perturbed slightly from the concussive force of this thump. He raises his hand up and says, No one panic. No one touch them. Keeper Cresthold, do you have any insight into this? And Rom steps forward and begins to. Well, here we go. So he's come down from the side. Actually, all three of these guys have come down. No, he's over there. He came around that side. And he steps in, pushing past Burnley, who he kind of shoves out to the side. Burnley takes this opportunity to kind of step back towards Orpolder Maclay, who has basically said that he would take in Burnley and put him to work in the temple in Verdale. And he begins to closely inspect Flint, sort of gazing at him and
Longingly.
Pedwin and Big Mo, you two being so close, you can hear the small kind of mutterings that he makes to himself as he makes his observations, and punctuated by and kind of noises of pondering. He mutters to himself for a moment and moves his hands in an incantation and tries to press his hands towards Flint's form. And the magic that is being channeled through his body, that is kind of emanated from the symbol that hangs on his chest, it radiates outward and then pulses into the cloudy form of Flint Baldur and seems to dissipate into it, illuminating it briefly and then fading away, and there is no change. And he steps back for a moment, and with an audible, "That's not what I expected."
That's Sean Connery.
The orb holder announces that anyone who does not need to be here should go back to their homes and report any other occurrences of people being afflicted with this condition.
The fuck?
Well, this, like, of whatever is affecting the 4 individuals in this room. And
Yes,
with that,
hello. I'd like to be helpful. I say to the general audience.
The
God, here we
dwarf in
go
the
again.
white and green robes looks over and says, "And how can you be helpful?"
We've seen this before.
You have?
Yes, on the shore before we got on our ship.
Curious. What has caused it? Is there a cure, a method of treating it?
Nope. It's just super scary fog. I don't know much beyond that. I guess it's spread pretty far out now.
This bodes ill. Tell me. This is not the place, though. Come, I have questions for you. Ray, bring them. And he kind of waves his hand and indicates to the side door on this side, and everyone begins to file out. However, Orbholder Maclay and Navigator Burnley are staying where they are. And at this point, Maclay, he speaks up. Well, this is a little outside my realm of expertise. I'm merely a humble public servant. I will take my charge here and we shall leave. And as he turns to go, Is anyone gonna say anything?
Who said that again?
That was Orpolder Maclay down here.
He's taking Burnley.
Yes, Burnley was released to his charge because the only.
Can't do. I don't think we can do anything about that.
Nope.
I don't say anything.
All right. So as they turn to leave, the other guard from Verdale has just kind of wandered over and is looking at his friend, really, really concerned and confused, and just trying to touch somebody that isn't there. It's just a cloudy apparition of a person. What? Okay, I'll also say this for the sake of clearing this up. The people that were exposed to the fog that you saw,
Mm-hmm.
they still looked pretty much like normal people, and they had like their normal physical form and all that. They were like mentally unresponsive and almost just kind of like moving around in a haze. The individual that you see before you, like what's happened to Flint and these other individuals, is they are the exactly the way they looked the last time you saw them, but their form itself is cloudy and translucent and not quite there. Like it's almost like you can't touch them. They're non-corporeal almost.
Spooky.
Well, you
ghosts.
haven't tried touching them, but
Spooky.
yes. So there is a bit of a difference. So as Maclay turns to go and kind of pulls Burnley with him and motions to his guard to come along, Ray beckons out to him and says, "I am not done. I wish to discuss one more thing with the two of you before you go. Come with us." And all of you filter out. So, okay, all of you being here, let me summarize this. So, Pedwin, Big Mo, the dwarf known as Rom Cresthold, Orbholder Ray, the half-elf individual you know as Roland, Orbholder Maclay, Navigator Burnley, and a smattering of guards all filter out of this room and into another room on the left-hand side, which is two rooms with the wall taken out in between them. So there is a small. It's what was two rooms with the portion between them now taken out. So there seems to be like a division within the room, but it's only part way coming off the walls. And in this room is a collection of furniture, just kind of normal couches, drapery, desks, small bookcases, and small tables with a tray of tea and some small like finger food and things like that. It's more like kind of like a receiving room meant to house people in an interim, which you gather is likely where they keep people that they're going to bring out for the trials. And at this, the orb holder sits down at a desk at the end of the room, kind of light streaming in from the right-hand side of the room, casting down onto the floor, onto the green carpets that lay over top of the stonework. And everyone kind of arranges himself in the room, kind of flanked by guards, and everybody just kind of walks into this one half of the room.
But you said we're all in here, right? Because we know what the thing is. Like we followed them in.
Yes. The party
Yeah.
went with them, but the
Yeah.
people that are like this kind of smoky version of themselves, they obviously could not come. So Ray sits down and turns to Cresthold, and the two of them begin a low conversation between each other. Does anyone want to say anything?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to ask me questions.
I'll do the same.
I've learned a little not to talk so fast. Get myself into trouble.
But that's what Pedwin does. Is he gets himself into trouble.
I just want to get. I'm tired. I want to get out of this place, so I can be. I want to. I want to get to a place where I can be invisible as soon as possible.
Okay, I gotcha. So as they sit down, a servant brings in a pitcher of water and pours some out for everybody. Offers the two of you cups of water. And
Otta.
Ray is sitting there with a puzzled expression on his face. He leans back and exhales a deep sigh and breathes in. And he says, "Now it has come to this. I am not satisfied with the revelations of this trial, this proceeding. Some has come to my understanding that was not there before. And this is much more appealing a state of affairs. If you are to be in service to this court, I would have you work with our established guard to help solve the problems that plague our people. If you speak to the quartermaster, you can find him in this building. He should have some assignments for you. Should you find some form of good or some service you can do, present it to him, and if he approves, then I will consider it part of your obligations fulfilled. But make it known, I do not forgive so lightly. And you will have to earn my trust." What was that?
Got a badass over here. I don't actually say that, I just wanted to say.
Okay. He turns to Orholder McClay and Navigator Burnley. "McClay, I am glad to see that you are recently recovered from your illness. But tell me, you knew nothing of the destruction of the Standing Stone that has stood in that lake since before you were born?" And at this, McClay just simply shrugs and says, "Oh, some relic like that was bound to come down sooner or later, don't you think? I mean, everything's gotta eventually succumb to time. You might know that better than some." And with that, he has kind of like a smarmy look on his face as he cocks one eyebrow up and sort of puffs out his chest a little bit and looks around for some kind of like nod of approval that other people get the fact that he's referencing the advancing age of this elf. As you look around, nobody does. And eventually he kind of shrinks back down, a little deflated that nobody else got his little quip.
I cup my hand over my mouth and yell real loud, "He called you old!"
You can't help but notice a couple of the guards smirk and then quickly regain their composure as they try to suppress their laughter. And the orb holder who just got insulted sort of glares at Maclay because he just can't stand this guy. Yes, I have lived many years on these islands. I lived here when it was one island. I have seen what can happen when the power that was contained there is left to run roughshod, is unrestrained. You seem to not consider this an incident of great severity, but I do. I must come to understand what has happened. When you get back to Verdale, I wish to see the pieces of that stone where they remain. Collect them, send them back to me, and Keeper Cresthold here will scry upon them.
Ooh, I love scrying. Can I watch?
Certainly. I too am curious as to what will come of these stones. What is your passive perception?
Mine?
Both of you.
Something spooky is about to happen.
That would just be the big number or the small
14.
number next. Is it? So is it the bigger number? The number on the right?
It's at the top of your character sheet next to your XP.
Oh, 14.
The two of you notice that Navigator Burnley kind of looks around uncomfortably and shifts a little bit and can't seem to quite just, keep his composure. It's not that obvious, but there's definitely some heaviness to the conversation as far as he's concerned. And he's trying not to show that it's bothering him, but it's bothering him, and you can see it.
We were talking about the stone, right?
You were talking about the stone, yes. The one that was in that small island in the lake in Verdale.
Can I ask Burnley if something's bothering him?
He seems off-put at the question and actually takes a very small step back in response to it. No, of course not.
Okay.
If it is to the orb holders choosing, I will be the bearer of these stones.
Oh god, here we go.
And he sort of turns towards orb holder Maclay, who looks at him and says, that might do, but you are to be in service to our temple. You will stay where I can keep a close eye on you.
Yeah.
The two of them exchange a sidelong glance before turning back to the assembled party. At this point, Keeper Cresthold speaks up. Well, he clears his throat, I should say, with a And now to the matter of what has become of your companion and our jurymen, these other individuals. And as he says that, a servant comes in, and you hear a knock at the door, and then it opens, and a well-dressed servant walks in and leans in and speaks to the keeper and the orb holder. They both kind of nod, and orb holder Ray looks a little sullen and concerned. It would seem and he, upon reflecting on this news a little bit, and then speaks up, it would seem that more than these four have been afflicted with this condition, this curse, whatever it is.
The fog.
The claw.
No, the fog.
The fog has chosen me.
And as he expresses that sentiment, the keeper speaks up again. I will confer with my compatriots in Tamek. In the meantime,
In Tamek?
yes,
I'm not asking him, I'm asking you if I recognize that name.
you don't, but you can ask him what Tamek is.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm annoyed at having to help people against my will. So I'm just remaining sullenly quiet from the most
Okay.
part.
Okay. It's as the keeper finishes that sentence. Or no, actually, sorry, no, he hasn't finished what he's saying there. So he said he'll confer with his compatriots in Tamek, and perhaps we can find some clue as to what afflicts these individuals. I have some inkling, but to see it so far spread. And at that point, someone that is familiar to actually both of you, both Pedwin and Big Mo, you hear a higher pitched female voice call out from the end of the room with sternness, the same door that the servant then left from after delivering the news.
Holg.
That is enough, Cresthold. And again, as everyone turns to address this voice, you see this white-robed individual with the trim and the red triangles and the trails of charms that come down out of the hood. And now that you're in the same room with her, you notice that she...
Oh.
What?
The one chick.
Yes, you saw her before when you were leaving the... Blah, what the hell's the word I'm looking for? When you were leaving the orb holder's house.
Oh, I thought it was the one chick that Hogan.
Do we know
What's his
anything
name
about
now?
her?
You don't know much about her. You've only seen her, like, previously you only caught a glimpse of her as she walked past you, and Steve-O only caught a glimpse of her when she was coming up from the basement of the orb holder's house. But now that you see her, you notice that she's roughly human height. Sorry, I just gotta bring up one quick thing for reference. I didn't think I was actually going to need this thing open, so give me a second. Okay, so while I wait for this, as you look at her, you notice that the robe itself is quite long at the arms. You actually cannot see her arms as they hang out from it.
Wait, she has long arms or her row arms are long?
The robe arms are very long. And the robe itself appears to be quite it's not hanging loosely on her form. Like, it seems to be relatively full, as if, whatever's underneath it is kind of pressing up against it, as opposed to it just hanging loosely over her form. And as she walks over, you don't hear the footsteps you hear are unusually light.
spooky ghost?
I'm not gonna say anything. It might be that shapeshifter lady.
Shapeshifter lady? Oh, you mean the the friendly lady? I forget her name.
Yeah,
Oh, you mean Aya?
sure. I guess it's not a based off HPG's Rise.
Well, you don't know that. Who's HPG? I don't know what you're saying. Okay. So, as she walks forward, she brings her arm up and draws her hood back. And what is revealed when she pulls the hood back is not a human face, it is the face of a bird. Is it very-
What?
Is it
All
a very
you birds look the same.
Hmm?
What? I was making a racist joke.
Oh, I
All
see.
you birds make the same. Look the same. Would that be race?
I don't know. Anyway, this the bird face that looks at you, and for a moment, like the people that have not seen her before are quite taken aback, and it's this very, very dark feathered head, but it's got streaks of white that kind of travel outwards like radial lines, so they seem to almost start near the edge of where her beak and her face meet, and then are drawn out, kind of outwards from there, like a starburst. And you can see,
Uh,
and you can see the trails of charms that hang from her that include like small bits of hair kind of bound up, or a tiny carven wood, or little bones, and just various kind of charms are woven into this thing. And it is sitting around her neck is a small gnarled wood loop to which these kind of strings of charms and keepsakes are attached. And she then speaks up. Cresthold, Ray, I will discuss more of this with you later, not in front of these.
Who'd
But until then,
refer to as these? Was she referring to us?
yeah, as she said that, she kind of looked around a little derisively and like kind of peering down over her beak at the individuals that she doesn't recognize. Until then, and she continues, until then, speak no more of this. And she reaches up, and you do see a humanoid hand come up, but the humanoid hand is covered in the same kind of feathers, ending in claw tips, as she grabs the hood and pulls it back up, and then takes a place just kind of standing next to the side of one of the windows near the door, or near one of the doors to this room, I should say, and falls silent.
Well, that was weird.
The keeper kind of clears his throat and looks towards you, Pedwin, as you say that, and kind of gives you a nod, and says, "Well then, I shall return to Tamek. I will report to you, Ray, with anything that I learn of this." And he takes a seat for a moment while he waits for Ray to finish dealing with everyone else. Burnley and Maclay are told by Ray that they're free to leave, and Burnley can collect his possessions from the chest at the side of the room before he goes.
Oh, my battle axe.
And he does so. He moves over there and he picks up his belongings, but he doesn't have his axe, and he turns and asks Ray about it. He says, my lord, my weapon. It is very important to me. It was gifted to me by... And Ray just cuts him off before he starts on his next little tirade. He's like, yes. Guard, please take him to my residence. His axe resides there. Before you go, Maclay, you said you would keep a close eye on him. I will keep a close eye on you. That is all. And the two of them then leave. You two, turning to Pedwin and Big Mo. Do you have any questions of your assignment before I give you back your belongings and set you to it?
What was our assignment again?
You are to do good for this city, this island, the people that you have put in danger. If you need direction, you can speak to the quartermaster, or you can simply refer to message boards, town criers, or ask amongst this populace.
Look for people with exclamation points above their head.
So just look for people that are trouble and help them out.
Yes, and with whatever you find, bring this information to the quartermaster. He resides in this building. He will update me as to your progress. If you collect any information regarding what is befallen your friend, bring that directly to me.
What friend?
He's referring... The dwarf that still stands within the courtroom?
Oh, him, right. That dude.
Your concern for him is touching.
Yeah.
Oh, we just met him like 2 days ago.
Very well. Please collect your belongings and be on your way.
Let's go get our shit.
Alright. Time to get our shit. I collect my shit.
Alright, you guys head over to the chest and you retrieve all your belongings. Everything in the inventory that I told you to remove before, you can put back. Pedwin, you have your spellbook back.
Do I have my dangerous magic book back?
Yes, you do.
Excellent. Oh, who was the guy who mentioned Rambaldi in the
That
trial?
was... Nobody mentioned Rambaldi in the trial.
Oh, it was before, wasn't it?
Yes, you were speaking to the orb holder one-on-one, and he mentioned Rambaldi then.
The orb holder who took...
Orb holder Ray, the guy
That's
who's still in
okay.
this room.
Okay,
I don't think I
ask him about Rambaldi.
don't think
Okay.
I removed anything from my inventory. But I guess I have everything.
Well, we couldn't use it. That was...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically just like, oh, you didn't get put into jail with a battle axe.
How do you
so-
know?
You're asking Orb holder Ray about Rambaldi?
Yeah.
What are you saying? Like, what's your question?
I wanna ask him. He mentioned he talked to Rambaldi. I want to ask him who Rambaldi is and where he is.
The orb holder, he receives your question and then responds with, Rambaldi works in, and at that point there is a sharp, shrill cry, and everyone almost has to cover their ears. That's emanated from the robed figure, and says, that information is not for you.
Why not?
She steps forward and walks close to you and is kind of looking over you, and you can see now like the very like predatory nature of the bird structure of her face as she looks at you is this very intimidating, kind of piercing glance. on these islands, magic is controlled quite highly. Someone who has done what you have done, if I could decide your fate, I would not have been quite so generous as this one. And she motions her head towards Ray. So I say to you, that information is not for you.
Why not? You gave me a bunch of, you don't like me nonsense, but not a reason why I shouldn't meet him.
We are not about to let strangers wander into our halls of arcane research.
We?
At this point, the keeper speaks up and says, most magic on the island is controlled by the Gleaming Path. At which point, now that he's kind of taken over this explanation, the bird figure kind of tosses her head to the side and steps and resumes her position that she was in before, seemingly frustrated with the conversation.
I'm gonna turn around and ignore her and look back at the orb holder and smile and look expectant.
The orb holder takes a long, hard stare at the white-robed figure and says, Veki, I will decide how my charges are treated, not you. Rambaldi is, and at this point, and you see that Veki kind of motions as he begins his explanation, but he just glares at her and just stares at her wide-eyed, like, fucking come on. Like, I'm not taking your shit. That's very much his...
Bro?
Exactly. It's a do you even lift a bro kind of face towards this bird bitch. Rambaldi is an arcane researcher. He came to us quite some time ago. And like those whose interests fall within the arcane, most wind up at the spires.
Say that again?
Like most of the arcane persuasion, he wound up at the spires where he could continue his pursuits.
What are the spires?
The spires exist on the southwest of this island.
Oh, can you bring up the map? Yeah.
It's at this point
Island
that
map.
you notice, out of all your belongings, your map is gone.
No! It was definitely with our stuff, right?
It was definitely with your stuff. You recall it being taken and put in that chest. You saw it get put there.
Is there a lost and found around here? Something's missing.
What is missing?
My map! My map of the island. Very pretty. Very magical. Well, not very magical, never mind. Only slightly magical.
There's a couple of raised eyebrows as you kind of stumble along through that sentence. Your possessions were taken from you and placed within that chest.
I
The
have
only
my
other
spells,
individuals-
right?
Hmm?
I got my spells, right?
Yeah, you have all your spells. There's been no tampering done to your spell book.
Do I have... Okay, I have locate object. Let's do this thing. I'm gonna locate object on my map.
You're gonna do it right here in the office?
Yeah. I'm gonna distract everybody by doing a cartwheel.
Okay, so Describe it. Describe your cartwheel. Let's hear it.
If it were me, it would be I do a cartwheel.
I do a bit of what's that thing called? Hopscotch, jump, and then I jump, twirl in the air, and then do a cartwheel after I come back down.
All right. So you hopscotch, you jump, and you rotate once in the air as you do your cartwheel.
Yep.
And your perception goes dark for a moment, and then seems to expand much wider than this room. And you feel that you're pulling in information from an increasing radius as it billows out from your central focal point. That is you, middle of your cartwheel, inverted, channeling the universe. And you concentrate on the map. And you detect it. You detect it pretty fast.
Excellent.
And it's actually just leaving the building.
Did Burnley just leave the building?
You know that Burnley and Maclay left the room a little while ago.
I'll run with you.
I'm gonna yell at the top of my lungs, at the top of my voice, top of my... What's the phrase?
Not top of your lungs.
Top of my... Okay. Burnley took it! Then I point in Burnley's direction, that way! And I take off running.
I'll follow him.
All right, so the sudden acrobatic display and then exclamation and bursting forth from the room leaves everyone still standing there, stunned. It's just kind of a wide-eyed, like... It's that situation where everybody in the room's jaws have dropped because they've got nothing to say. And there is a very quiet facepalm as Ray just puts his hand in his head, or his head in his hand. And the two of you take off. You run out of the room. You're actually back in the courtroom now. Actually, I suppose I should have asked you what door you left, but anyway. You're back in the courtroom now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see here that there's a couple of young children that are like kind of poking the elf that's still standing in the jury bench. And the cat is nowhere that you can see right now. And otherwise, Flint is just kind of standing there in that smoky form, slightly swaying back and forth, as is the guard and the civilian standing near.
I use my mage hand to give one of the kids that's bothering the elf a wedgie.
All right, what's the range on mage hand?
I think 30 feet? Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. It's not even important. All right, you successfully wedgie the kid. He is taken aback and surprised by this sudden intrusion into his pants.
I give a double thumbs up to the elf. On my way
The-
running out.
The vacant stare of the elf is just looking forward, not acknowledging. You're looking out for him. The two children run off. The second one that didn't get wedgied, pointing and laughing at his friend. So the two of you leave this room and you exit outside the kind of...
Actually, I want to go up to the elf. Is he... Wait, is the elf...
What about your map?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Like, ADD. My character is ADD.
Okay, so are you gonna stop and investigate the elf?
Is the elf is the elf one of the translucent people, or is he?
Yes, the elf is one of the
never mind
translucent
then.
people.
Fuck him. He's not interesting. Yeah, back to the map.
All right, so you, the two of you leave one of the two entrances you took to come in here. This time not flanked by guards, and you tear ass out down the hallway, Pedwin, you're now is locate object, it's a concentration thing? Are you knowing where it is relative to you for a while, or is it just that one instant of insight?
It lasts for 10 minutes, I think. It is concentration, yes.
Okay, so you can like home in on it.
Yeah.
All right. So, you are terrassing down the corner, and you are slowly starting to gain on this because it's walking away at normal speed. And as you just exit, well, here, let's bring you out to here. All right, so you burst out of the courtroom back onto the streets of Mason's Rest. It's now about like noonish. And you can tell this because you look over and the spire is casting no shadow. So it's just the sun is coming straight down and everything. And leaving here are... Oh, hang on, I gotta bring these in. Okay, so there's Burnley. Okay, can you guys move your tokens?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so leaving the courthouse is Orbholder McClay, 3 of his guards, seeing as one of them is still frozen in the courtroom. And the 2 of you have just gotten out. So you 2 have just left the courtroom, and these guys are leaving now, making their way across the plaza here.
I begin to cast sleep and then realize that would be extremely stupid.
Well, at least you're realizing. Did you say they were on horses?
No, they're not on horses. They're just on foot.
Let's just sprint after them.
I say, I hold Big Mo back and say, wait, let's try something else. Let's see where they go, and we can get our friends, so we don't have to get thrown into jail again.
Oh, okay. Aren't they supposed to leave the city though?
Well, we're not sure. I'm not sure if they're actually going to go where they say they're going to go.
Oh, let's follow them then.
Let's follow them.
Okay,
I
so
want to stay out of line of sight.
All right. So you are definitely staying out of line of sight?
Yeah. I want to until the end of my duration. I want to stay out of line of sight, and then I want to get back in. Then I want to get back into line of sight. I just want to stay like just barely out of line of sight, so if they look back, they don't see us following.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, so the 2 of you break line of sight, and Big Mo, you're a little worried that you're just kind of letting these guys get away from you, but as soon as line of sight is broken, Pedwin starts moving to follow where his spell is indicating he's supposed to go. And you see them disappear around the corner. And as you are continuing to follow this, eventually you realize that they've gone into the temple. And you can see that the orb holder and his guards are just kind of standing around talking outside the temple. But your spell is indicating that Burnley is in the temple.
This is the spire, right?
No, the temple is right here. This is
okay.
the temple. That's the temple. So they cross the plaza past the big rock spire over here. and
Um,
it's
I
at this point there are.
I'm just thinking to myself how useful invisibility would be right now.
You need to do a long rest right before you can.
Well, I'm not level 3 yet, so I can't, or I'm not level 4 yet, so I can't get it yet. I don't have invisibility.
Well, I will say this that at the end of the next long rest, given all the RP that's gone on, I'll say you guys can get to level 4.
Oh
I don't know what that does for me other than increase my health.
I don't know either. I don't have my book in arm's reach.
I get an ability score improvement.
yeah. Yep.
Yes, that does happen, doesn't it? Anyway, okay.
Can I tell where in the temple he is?
You get the feeling that okay, so if you're looking at the temple, so you feel him kind of near this corner, like in between the center point and the lower right,
What floor?
maybe southeast. It's no, the ground floor.
Okay.
You haven't been in the temple, but you can tell that he's on the ground floor.
Well,
It's
the
only
map is on the
slightly
ground floor,
raised.
at least.
Hmm?
The map
Oh,
is on the...
yes, the map is on the ground floor.
I wanna stake out the entrance and wait.
Okay. You notice that one of the orb holder's guards break away, and he heads off in the direction of the kind of nicer area of town where you guys were getting stopped by guards before that you had to break in by flinging horse shit. So he leaves kind of in that direction. So he's headed like this way, goes like that.
He's trailing blood.
Actually, yes, I want to get off that disgusting red.
I don't see any red.
Oh, I deleted it, so. Okay. Ba-da-da. So a little bit of time goes by, and your spell slowly begins to fade.
He's still in the same spot.
He's moved around a little bit, but he's still in the same general area. And so where are you relative to the temple right now?
The entrance is right here. Or not. Let me give me.
Steve-O, I
There-ish.
need you to place yourself as well. Yeah, well, you see those two lines there like
Yeah.
that? That's the entrance.
Yeah.
And like it's a big, wide door that comes to like a very high, rounded, tapered top, and it is currently swung outwards.
Is there another entrance to the?
There are smaller doors aside the very large one, but they seem to all be on the front. What adorns the other sides of the building are either large stone pillars that extend upwards towards the rounded parapets, or they're not rounded. They're kind of like angular cones, parapets that come up, and there's lots of stained glass windows on adorning each of the three other walls of the temple. So, Big Mo, you are standing right there. Okay.
I think I was following Pedwin, so.
Well, where's Pedwin standing?
I
the clue.
Ooh, down here in this corner. I want to be able to see everyone who comes out of the front exits.
Okay.
I'm gonna. How long? So it's been 10 minutes now.
It's been a little bit over 10 minutes, yes, because your spell has just faded. So from where you guys are, you can see two of the three guards for Orbholder Maclay and Orbholder Maclay standing there outside the temple. The other one going off somewhere. And then there are loud bells that start to ring and chime, and a few other kind of similar instruments, like percussion instruments, begin to create this kind of strange melodic tune that comes out of the temple. And at that point, a large swelling of individuals kind of pours out of the building. And
if Burnley were to come out, do I think I could discern him within the masses?
it would be pretty tough. I would make you do a check for it.
I wanna get behind one of the doors up there and see if I can see his back coming out of the door.
Okay, so you're so we'll say that you walked, like, as this flood of people is coming out, you started walking up aside the large main door, where there is a smaller, similarly designed door. This one just kept closed, though.
Okay.
And you're looking at the swell of people coming out. Unfortunately, how tall are you?
Not very.
So you see, like, the first 2 or 3 rows of people like, there's all sorts of individuals. You see humans, you see gnomes, you see elves, you see dwarves,
Can I be on the lookout for Burnley too?
Sure.
I'm 3 foot
That's who we're
5.
looking for.
Okay, so you can't see over anybody,
You just see everyone's legs.
and you see some torsos. You see some pretty girls, and anyway, and like families leaving as this session of temple is finished. You're this close now, and you know what he looks like. I'm not going to make you do a check. Actually, you know what? I will. Steve-O, make a perception roll.
Just Steve-O?
If you want, Steve-O can, like, pick you up, and then you'll be able to see over.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay,
Mo,
so
put me
both
on
of you
your
make
shoulders.
perceptions.
I gotta move closer to Joe.
Do I get advantage because I'm sitting on his shoulders?
No, you get to make a check, though. Okay, so the head rush of being picked up and your elevation changing so much is it makes Pedwin a little woozy, and he doesn't discern too much information about who's leaving the temple, but Big Mo just standing there, holding a gnome on his shoulder, no problem. Spots the back of his head and with his stupid face and his distinctive red robes, and he walks out and starts to speak to the orb holder and the 2 remaining guards. And they, like, as they kind of move into the swell of people that are leaving the temple and begin to head back towards the plaza with the stone spire.
Let's follow behind.
Okay, so
Which way did they go? Did they go up?
they
I
went.
see him. I see him.
Oh shit!
Okay, yep. He's
There we go.
teleporting.
Okay, so they went this way through here into the plaza again. If you guys are going to follow them, I'm going to need you to make stealth checks.
Even if we keep to the shadows.
With
Yeah, even if you keep to the
disadvantage 'cause I'm on
shadows.
his head.
It's going to be a disadvantage for you, Pedwin, but it's not going to be a disadvantage for Big Mo.
God, I guess I am gigantic.
Oh no!
God. Well, I mean, it is a big crowd, and they're not exactly looking for us.
Hang on, I got to do a perception thing for this guy.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Oh, I missed.
Well, he didn't roll that well, but it was a good enough roll. So as they're blending into the crowd, Burnley takes a quick look around over his shoulders and spots a very distinctive pink gnome sitting atop the shoulders of an
I give him
abnormally
a
tall
wave.
human. You wave at him and he just glares, and you can't hear him over the noise of the crowd, but you swear that it would be a he mutters something to the 2 guards that are the 2 guards and Maclay who are bearing the oh man, what's the word I'm looking for here? The insignia, that's it. The insignia of Verdale. So they've got the the tree that's one half in bloom and one half withered.
I say down to Big Mo and say, let's go into the temple, check that out. I give him a bit of a yah.
And just leave Burnley alone
Well, we
with your map.
I can locate object again.
Okay. Back to the temple.
Okay, so the two of you stop following Burnley and Maclay and his guards.
I mean, they're likely going to the house down here where he was before to pick up his axe. We can track him tomorrow.
So the two of you walk up the stairs to the temple, and as you go up there, you notice a small envoy of individuals in white robes that are leaving after the bulk of the crowd. There's some individual they're speaking to some of the population as they head out from one of these smaller side doors that was initially closed. And a couple of them stay behind and begin to pull the large doors of the temple shut. But you guys they see the two of you walking up, and they bow their heads and they beckon you forward and they welcome you into the temple.
Father, brother, uncle.
I am simply a man who walks the path, is the response you get from the
cousin. Cousin.
Let's go bowling. All right.
Hey Roman, it's Nico. No, it's hey Nico, it's Roman. My bad. Names.
So the two of you walk in, and the large doors are pulled closed behind you, but you see that the smaller doors on either side are unbarred, and actually they are open, so the temple is still open to the public. As you look around, you see it's similar in design to the temple that was in Verdale, but
the one that I attempted to set on fire.
Yes. So it's similar in that there are columns that are in the temple, and on different faces of the columns are different shrines to different gods. And before each of these columns, kind of arrayed in. So here, let me bring up a blank page. Okay. Okay, can you guys see the big white space?
Yep.
Okay.
Why?
All right, so the doors are over here. And the temple itself is just this big, large square like that. There are rooms off to the sides here and at this corner. And there are small areas that are kind of blocked off by partitions like that. So you can't see in there or in here at from where you're standing. Oh, let me actually drag you guys in here.
I want to head in the general direction of where I detected the map was when Burnley was in here.
Oh crap, wrong window. What's going on? Okay.
We're so tiny.
Teeny tiny things.
Oh, I'm so much bigger than you.
Okay, there. That's better. Alright, so these are the partitions. Okay, the pillars that I was referring to. Shape. There it is. Okay. Okay. And then there are the two that are closest to you. Okay, so like that. And the benches that are around them are kind of arranged like this. So basically, it's like they're concentric rings that move out from the pillars.
Yeah.
And it's like two layers of them, and these surround all of the pillars. So for the corner ones, they look kind of like this. And there is a central walkway up the middle.
So I want to. Oh, I can't move my character. I can.
It's like
oh,
a
it is again.
large.
No, never mind.
It's like a large, just kind of like deep brown with like small reddish like trim along the edges of it. This carpet that moves down the middle towards the back wall, and these walls are anywhere that's not like a stone pillar that supports the roof, which is quite high. It's like 30 or 40 feet up, and it turns into these like vaulted, these like vaulted ceilings. Just you can kind of see the decorative stonework that's on the outside. That like it's obviously a layer that's in between the exterior wall and this wall. And along anywhere there's not a window is a mural. And as you look around, there are also there are placards on the walls that are just written in like kind of old style calligraphy, and they're just in these very very large pieces of writing that just adorn the walls every so often. And in the room are a few individuals in white robes and some individuals that are still leading small sermons or discussing with a group of people one individual god, because you can see them kind of motioning back and forth to that person. A lot of these individuals that are doing this are bearing symbols of different gods as well. And you go over to where you felt the Burnley's presence. At it, you see there are two gods that are put onto this pillar. Actually, those lines are not perfectly accurate. Let me adjust those. Okay, so you arrive at the pillar.
I want to detect a magics.
Okay, are you doing that as a ritual or are you just casting it?
Just casting it. I don't foresee us doing any fighting for a long time.
You don't know, man.
What'd you say you were casting?
Detect magic.
Okay, so you cast detect magic, and once again your consciousness expands, and seems to move outwards from just your form, and you pick up hints of magic, just kind of generally around you. There is like a very, very low presence of magic just kind of permeating the room, but it's not arcane in nature.
Magic
And
that's not arcane.
if you had to guess that there is some element of divine power that kind of permeates this whole temple, because you've felt a similar kind of magic in previous dealings with clerics and paladins and other individuals of a divine order. Drawing from your excellent education at the College of Farmatting. But you don't notice any particular like focal points of magic within the temple. What's the radius on it?
30 feet.
Yeah, so you don't pick up anything magical, especially.
Yeah. Let me think. I go up to Big Mo and I say we go look for our friends.
Okay.
Tell them what's the haps. Maybe we can get their help with Burnley.
Sounds good.
All right. So as you, Pedwin, as you were walking,
Before we leave, can I take a quick look around the pillar to see if he might have left anything there?
make an investigation check. No. You're looking for stuff. It'd be a perception check. You don't notice anything unusual or out of the ordinary. There is a little bit of dust around the feet of one of the shrines, and the shrine, it doesn't have any humanoid figure. It's a large metallic. I guess you could call it like a statue of a singular point with 3 bolts of lightning that are radiating out of it.
Do I know what god that is?
Make a religion check.
Nope.
You don't, but why don't you make an intelligence saving throw? Oh no, I guess this wouldn't be a saving throw because you're not in trouble. This would just be an intelligence check. Oh my god. You bet that's a god that thing is referring to.
Fuck. Okay, let's.
I tried, Joe. I really tried. So as Pedwin is walking back after this small investigation of that shrine, Steve, were you doing anything in the temple, by the way? Were you looking around or just waiting?
I was just waiting and watching.
All right. So as Pedwin is undergoing this bit of investigation, you hear some of the individuals nearby that are chatting with a member of the staff here, a member of the clergy, if you will, describing that their son has faded into this kind of cloud version of himself, that he's fading away. And he's obviously very distraught because he can't do anything to help him, and he's begging this guy to come and see if there's a way that can help him. And he asks if this is coming on the heels of the disappearances of young children in the towns, and like, are they going to have to organize a neighborhood watch, or what can they do? Like he's bombarding this guy with questions because he's just overworked with worry. And the guys the the priest of this particular god is doing his best to kind of console him and assure him that everything will be okay and that he needs to remain faithful and have hope that things will get better and that the gods are looking out for them, and just, trying to genuinely comfort him. So the
Can
two
we
of you
go up
leave.
and ruin their spirits?
Oh god.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna go up and what?
I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna say, can we go up and ruin their spirits?
If you want to, you can.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not that mean.
All right, so the two of you leave the temple.
Let's go to the. I vote we go to the inn where we saw Holg. Try and see if he's there again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you don't have a map. Do you remember where that is?
Somewhere upwards.
Yeah, somewhere along the northern coast.
Okay, so the two of you head to the north. Actually, just give me a second. I gotta grab some
If
of
we
my
go,
notes.
if we go to the courtyard, we can tell which way to come from. Sure, one of us recognizes. I'm real smart. Yay.
Okay. So the two of you start. So you're going to the plaza. Or are you going to? You're just going to start heading toward the coast. What are you going to do?
The coast.
Ghost.
Okay, so you guys just basically start heading straight up north, like through here.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So as you are doing this,
What?
did you say something?
I was singing.
Oh, okay. So as you guys are walking away, and you've left the temple, and you've turned right, and you're heading towards where you believe the coast is. As you are doing this, you're walking out away from the temple, and you notice that there are banners that seem to hang in this particular region of town that are on either, or there's one that stands just right in the center of this large laneway that's about, I'd say it's about 10 meters across, so about 5 meters in. There's this a small divot in the ground, and there is an iron post that is placed in there, and a banner hangs from it. And it's the one that you've seen before, and it's displayed on other signs in this area. It's a large gray, almost like a cone, like it's a 2D image. It's a picture, and this cone moves upwards and then pierces through a red-orange winged lizard, and is broken at the tip. And as you guys pass this, it is immediately followed by another one. And this has a different kind of banner hanging from it. This has a blue banner with two hands along the bottom of it, that the fingers are facing each other. And above it, you see a woodsman's axe. You see a spool of thread. You see a shovel, a paintbrush, and you see some boxes and what appears to be like a bale of hay. And these are all kind of seemingly supported in two columns by these two large hands. As you continue your walk through, you notice that these are posted up all around this particular region of town as you move towards the coast.
So what? So the bunch of banners.
Yes, essentially they're banners that seem to hang in distinct regions of the town, and the one that you're in now has the emblem that I just described.
So like sections of the city, essentially.
Yes, from what you can tell, that seems to be the way the city is divided up, or into these different districts.
How convenient. Continue on.
So as
Onward
you're-
and upward.
As you're heading towards the north, you see that this is there are lots of larger buildings with people going in and out, and you can see carts with animals and goods being laden, and there's a lot of generally there's just kind of like a hum of activity. People are constantly moving around. There's the occasional like of a horse that's just standing there clomping around back and forth. And as the two of you go north, you merge onto a street, and you see the sign that actually hangs just below the banner, and you see the word River Run. And this area,
Sound familiar?
River Run?
Yeah.
I don't know why it sounds familiar.
Okay.
But you do notice that this district also has its own banner, and this one's a little different from the other ones. It's much simpler in its design, and it features lots of geometric shapes. So it's a blue field with a gray triangle on one half, a red-orange circle in the middle above this triangle, a blue field, and then seemingly more distant is a large series of gray triangles that kind of overlap with each other. And this area seems to feature individuals going to and from the coastline with a great deal of frequency and activity. So the two of you come back out onto the coast.
I think it was to the east of here.
What? So did you want to come out somewhere else, or is this where you were?
We can come out anywhere. I just want to walk along the coast to see if we can see the bar.
Okay. Well, you don't see the bar from here, but you do see the Weaver, and you do see the
To the
Tide
Weaver.
Fin.
To the Tide Fin.
All right. So you head over to the Tide Fin, and as you're going there, you can see that one of the individuals that's standing watch on the deck of the Weaver, he sees you and then kind of makes a wave and then runs off for a second. And you walk over to the Tide Fin, and it's currently sitting there, and it's a small fish.
I give a little tap on the Tide Fin and say knock knock.
The Tide Fin, it bends its body a little bit and looks upward, and you see these two big black beady fish eyes that just look at you and blink once, and then blink twice, and the mouth does like a boop, and it dives underwater, and then a large swell of water kicks up for a moment, and actually it sprays you thoroughly, and you get quite a
Excellent.
drenching, and so does Big Mo. And even the Weaver, a little further along, kind of tips very slightly. And then a full-size Tide Fin is sitting there. And out from the top, you hear a door open.
Cousin!
And a tiny gnome is standing there. He's holding a staff that's made of wood that kind of kind of a gnarled wooden staff that rolls up and ends clasping a bright green gem that's perfectly smooth. And he peers at you over top of his enormous, wiry, white mustache that sticks out in all directions, and his horseshoe of hair that sticks out in all directions. And you see him, he exclaims and goes, "Ah, you're back! What kept you so long?" And he beckons that you join him in the tide fin.
You know, prison, dastardly deeds.
I'll never truly understand what it is about locking somebody up. Me, I wouldn't mind being locked up. It would give me all the time in the world to read all of my books. And I could get through so many of my studies without all these distractions like these two. And as the two of you are walking into the tide fin, he kind of motions his hand. And you see Holg he's just kind of relaxing on one of the hammocks that's hanging in the back of the tide fin. And you see Aya is sitting there with a book. And she seems to be quite entranced in this book. She's very, very intently reading it, and occasionally she's making marks on it with the tip of her nail. And from the direction she's facing, you can't see the pages of the book, but you do see its outside. And it is extremely, extremely dark black. And like when you look at it, it almost appears as if like part of it is moving or deforming, and it's very, very strange material that forms the exterior of this book. Its pages are seemingly quite old and like a little bit stained with time. And she is not even paying attention to what Boff is saying. But Holg, as soon as he sees you, he gets up and walks over and claps the two of you on your shoulders, which Holg's hand is like the size of your torso, Bedwin. So like when this big, meaty, gray half-orc hand comes down on you, it basically forces your knees to bend a little bit before you straighten up underneath the weight of this hand.
I give myself a shake and get a couple drops on him.
Holg recoils. Ugh. Well, it's good to see you again. So, what happened in there?
A bunch of uptight people who can't take a little fire.
He threw grenades around the room.
There's a little, just tiny explosions. Relatively tiny explosions.
Did you even light the grenades when you threw them?
Yeah.
He
I
did.
did. Yeah, I did.
As you say that, you hear Boff pipe up as he's busy rummaging through one of his chests. No explosions in here, please. Really not good for the no exploding in here. Okay?
Don't worry, I don't have any bombs on me right now.
Good. And then he dives right back into the chest, and you see like strange things are just being tossed out as you just see his legs kind of kicking back and forth from inside or from the interior of this chest. Holg, yeah.
I want to say to them, Burnley's in town.
You hear Boff stop rummaging, and Holg looks over to you. He's like, "Well, I thought we were chasing him here. Wouldn't it make sense that he's here?" And Boff pipes up, "And does he have my compass?"
Probably.
Well, what are we waiting for?
That's those are my thoughts exactly.
I want my compass back from that stupid lummox. Let's go! Holg, snap A out of her little trance. We got work to do. And you see him once again dive back in, and he just kind of muttering to himself, like, now where did I put that? I get. And Holg then turns back to the two of you. But why did it even come to that? Didn't you take your chance to run?
How?
Or do you mean that little shit that I paid didn't break you out?
Nope. He did a pretty shitty job. He tried to break out, what's his face? Burnley.
Burnley.
That's what he tried to do.
And then he
Well, he
disappeared.
opened all of your cell doors.
Yeah. And then he tried to break out Burnley, and Burnley... Didn't Burnley, like... He was, like, having none of it? And then we couldn't figure out how to get the fuck out of there?
And then he disappeared.
He just disappeared.
God
We
knows
couldn't
where.
follow him.
Hulk kind of takes all this in. You see him rubbing his chin. He says, I knew that kid was an incompetent fool.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to have a word with his boss.
No Thieves Guild, please. No Thieves Guild quests. We gotta be good boys. The explodey thingy is on my hand, right? On my wrist.
The explodey thingy?
The ticking time bomb.
You didn't actually get a lot of information regarding what this thing is, seeing as you kind of tore ass like a bat out of hell from that office. So you don't know a whole lot of what's going on with that. But the information you were provided with does not imply that it is going to be explosive of any kind. When they gave it to you, they said that they would be able to use it to keep an eye on you.
Does Boff know what it is?
You could show him.
Joe Boff is asking if he knows what it is.
Are you gonna do that?
Yes, I show Boff and ask him, "Do you know what this is?"
So Big Mo reaches down and scoops up Pedwin by his arm and carries him over to the chest that Boff is rummaging around in, and asks Boff if he knows what this thing on Pedwin's wrist is. And Pedwin is just kind of hanging there in the grasp of Big Mo, looking a little, not too happy with the situation. And Boff pops up, and then climbs up onto the edge of the chest, and then jumps onto Big Mo's arm, and climbs up onto the arm, and starts looking like really close at Pedwin's wrist with this bracer on it. And you see him reach into a pouch that he's got, and he puts on a pair of glasses that have like 3 extra lenses that he can rotate into place. And he's kind of shifting back and forth between these different lenses. You see him. He's making kind of puzzled noises to himself.
That wasn't supposed to be an airplane.
No, it's not an airplane. He stops for a moment and concentrates. And you see him clutch a small crystal that hangs around his neck. And then a kind of orange aura seems to glow off of him for a little bit. And then he looks very closely and intently at the bracer. It seems to not... It doesn't pose a threat. It seems more like it might be for protection of some sort.
For me, or protecting someone else from me?
Couldn't answer that, but I think it will provide some kind of protection. It's a diffuser, and as he touches it, the bracer glows briefly for a moment, and then the orange haze that surrounds Boff seems to get drawn into it and immediately fade from the crystal after a short glow. And he leans back with a start and goes, "Oh! It seems to have absorbed it. Strange." Where did you get it?
It's my shackle.
Joe, are you frying something in a pan?
I'm looking up something in the book. I wanted to see if I took Misty Step, if I could like teleport away from it, but I doubt I could.
Does it sound like he's frying something, HPG?
Oh, it definitely. There's a lot of like distortion interference.
Okay.
I want to get a quick snack. Do you guys want to take a break for a minute?
Yes, please. I've been like dying to go to the bathroom for the
Okay,
past
yes,
10
let's take a
minutes.
break.